to the seasonal podcast. I am Lane.
I'm Holden, and today we are discussing nothing, really. It's the introductory episode for the seasonal podcast where we just talk about what the podcast is all about and what we're going to be doing. So I have a lot of notes on my computer here for things that we're going to be talking about. But we're here for a fun time, eh? You can laugh. Okay, so first thing I wanted to discuss was a little bit of the start of seasonal productions as a whole, and kind of how it evolved. So, you remember how that started? Because I don't know if I remember the specifics.
I remember. Well, it started as we wanted to do short films.
Yeah.
And the short film idea kind of went on for a little bit, and we were like, okay, so what if we started, a company or whatnot? And we were thinking of names. I remember sitting in my old house.
Oh yeah, in the dark.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about short film ideas.
Yeah, and I was on my phone going through Twitter, and I saw a tweet about seasonal depression. And I was like, seasonal productions.
That was it? Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
No, it was. I saw a tweet about seasonal depression, and I was like, seasonal productions, it is.
That's actually really funny and fitting. But that's hilarious. But, because, oh man, the way that the company evolved overall has been a couple years coming. That was October 12th, 2019. I remember that date because I've had to put it on the website a few times. Seasonal Productions. That was a...
Productions.
Seasonalproductions.com. Seasonalproductions.com if you want to go see any of that stuff. But on October 12th, 2019, and then nothing happened. For forever. We were planning to be able to start recording like short films and stuff in like mid 2020.
Right, we came up with ideas. I even maybe wrote out a couple scripts, but the issue with the short films is in this town that we live in, there's not people that are willing to
there's nobody who is worth shooting, and the people who are worth shooting with are a lot of people that we don't like, which is our problem.
It's not even that I don't like that. It's just finding people interested in the idea.
Yeah.
And you got to realize we live in a small town.
It's a small town,
like a population of 3,000 people.
3,000 people with the town and the 3 surrounding areas within 5 miles.
Yeah.
Most people when they hear small town think 30, 40,000. No, this is 3,000. Yeah. So there's nobody here, and budgeting was going to be a problem. We were thinking of saving up and stuff. But then you remember something happened in early 2020, which we're not going to talk about. And I was having a lot of problems getting through my senior year of high school at the time, and let's just say that you had dropped out. I think you dropped out in when was it?
2017, was it?
It was either very late 2017 or very early 2018.
I remember I dropped out right as the second semester of 10th grade was
starting. And that was when I was dating.
You were dating that girl, yes.
So that would have been early 2018, I think. It was the first couple months. No, yes, it was the first couple months because it was just the start of the second semester.
February.
I want to say it was February or something like that.
February. And then, I went and got my GED and just worked, basically.
Yeah, so...
And then we came up with this idea because I was like, man... working a 9 to 5 sucks. But.
Yeah, and that was a whole tangent. Expect a lot of those. That's kind of what makes podcasts fun. But, basically, so Lane had already been dropped out of school for a while, but I was having struggles getting through my senior year, and the idea of seasonal just took a backseat for forever. So finally...
Well, between your troubles in school and whatever the hell I was going through with
Oh yeah, you were having your own issues at that. Oh yeah, that was a crazy time.
2020 was the worst year I think anybody's ever experienced. Not even COVID.
It wasn't even COVID.
It was my personal life. COVID was the easy thing to deal with.
COVID did not exist in our state until 2021, basically. There were a couple cases and that was it. Yeah. So we didn't know or care about anything regarding to that. And, regardless of COVID,
it really was. I mean, with the riots, the COVID, everything shutting down, it affected my job. Me having to live on a friend's couch for 6 months.
Because you got kicked out temporarily. That was funny.
Yeah, but then, we're kind of here, got my apartment. He's out of school.
Yeah, I've just been doing college online, but mostly been working. So, and basically in June or something like that, we started to take walks a lot together.
Yeah.
If you heard anything out of the norm, if you hear anything out of the norm,
cats.
it's his cats. They're out the door out there. They might scratch and, meow at us, but whatever, that's fine.
They're still, they're not really kittens anymore. They're 6 months old, but I've never seen cats have this much energy before.
They're crazy cats, man.
They are energetic.
It is a problem. But yeah, back in like June or something like that, we started taking walks together back when it was warm, because now it's late November when we're recording this, and it is not warm anymore.
No.
At all.
I walked down to Come and Go, which is a gas station. I know that's not a very...
That's actually a horrible name as I've gotten older.
But it's right down the road from me. I walked down there, grabbed a soda, and walked back, and by the time I got back, my fingers were red. I couldn't feel my lips.
Oh, and you live further away from it than you used to.
Yeah.
He used to live like 2 blocks away from that store. And then when he was on a friend's couch, he was like 2 blocks further away from that store. So it was only a few minutes walk. Now he's a few more minutes, because now it's probably like 8 blocks away, just in a totally different direction.
Yeah, and it's a hill.
It's a hill on the way back. On the way back, it's a lot of hills.
Yeah, coming back, I'm just winded. It's like, man, I gotta get back in shape.
But yeah, so we were taking a lot of walks together, and then we were talking about what we wanted to do with seasonal, and we had a lot of ideas, and then we downscaled a little bit, and based on time and a bunch of other stuff, it's kind of become a gig mostly for me. We still wanted to do the podcast together, though, so
the podcast is my main focus. There's a lot of writing stuff that he's doing. I'm just not that great at it, so...
So, there's a lot of writing stuff, and I'm not going to explain all that here. I have my own video on this channel and on the website. So, seasonalproductions.com again. I'm going to be shilling that this whole episode. You're welcome. So, let's see. What's the other stuff I want to talk about? I already talked about those. Boom. We got through 3 points on accident.
Hey, look at us go,
Look at us go. We're on a roll. So, the purpose of this podcast overall, we just wanted to talk about stuff. For me, primarily, I watched a lot of movies when I was younger, but they were mostly like the same 15 movies that I watched over and over again, because we didn't have many in my house. But probably like 4 years ago or something like that, I want to say 2017, 2018, I stopped watching movies and did not watch any. So
2017 was 4 years ago?
2017 was 4 years ago. 2017 was also when the 8th Star Wars movie came out. Let's not get on that conversation, but basically ever since the 8th Star Wars movie, I've seen 4. Oh, sorry. Allergies to cats sucks. I've seen like maybe 4 movies in theaters, one of those movies twice. And any movies that I've watched...
Which movie did you see twice?
Joker.
You went twice?
I saw it in here when it was here a couple weeks later.
I know you and I traveled to the next town over.
To be able to do anything, we have to travel minimum 45 minutes.
We don't even have a Walmart or a McDonald's. If I want a Big Mac, I gotta travel 45 minutes that way. Which
is it that? It is that way.
Yes, it is that way. I have to travel 45 minutes for a Big Mac, and it
and
sucks.
If you want to go to the nearest place that's bigger than 10,000 people, you have to go an hour and a half. Well, not quite an hour and a half. More like 60, 70 minutes. How far away is
it? I've always remembered it as like a 2-hour drive. But maybe that's
I always remembered it as an hour and a half, but I've been told it's not that long. Either way, it's over an hour that way.
Is it
That's a very poor representation. It's kind of in that general direction. It's where the one town is more or less that way. The other town's the complete opposite direction. Okay, it would be probably more like that direction.
It's like a straight line down. Kind of off in the middle.
Yeah, because... Either way, it's a long way the other direction. We have nothing. We have nothing. We're in the middle of nowhere, 3,000 people. It's great.
Living the dream.
Anyway,
really,
tangents on tangents. I don't watch movies anymore, but recently I've wanted to watch more movies, so this podcast is mostly going to be talking about reviewing and having discussions about different movies and series and stuff.
We'll be doing some well-known movies at first, but I would like us to review movies and do a podcast on them maybe as soon as they hit theaters at some point.
Yeah, there are some movies for sure.
Yeah.
Like one I want to talk about soon if you're able to watch it tonight. We want to talk about Dune at some point.
True. It leaves. You said it leaves HBO Max tonight.
I think it'll be off by tomorrow. It might still be on tomorrow, but I don't know for sure. Depends on what time.
So I should be able to watch that, but I also did just download Battlefield 2042.
So we'll see. Either way, it'll probably be back on early next year sometime. It's not too much of a big deal.
It's so crazy because now you're getting into watching movies. When I was
Yeah.
I used to watch every movie, know everything about them. Nowadays, it's I can watch a movie, but it has to be a specific movie and it has to catch my interest. Because a lot of times I'll sit halfway through a movie and I'm done.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to sit down for more than an hour.
I think I've just
watch something.
grown a newfound appreciation because I didn't watch movies for so many years, and especially since most of the movies that I watched in theaters were not good movies, excluding Joker. Joker's fantastic.
Joker was an amazing movie.
And I think that's on HBO Max, so we'll definitely be watching that at some point in time too.
I have Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, and I don't watch
I still need to get Netflix, but otherwise I have HBO Max and Disney Plus. So
you'll just get my account.
Yeah.
It's not even my account, it's my mom's, but she don't need to know. She don't need to know that I have all my other friends on my account too.
That's fine. So let's see. And like you said, I think you mentioned that we're going to be doing some well-known movies at first. There are two primary series that this has started on. The first one is the MCU review, where we'll be talking about all the MCU movies in order of basically the release for the most part, like in phase order. I was originally going to do chronological, but then I was like, that'll be a little bit too hard to keep up on. So
yeah, well, and I got to catch up on the MCU anyways. I've made a point to watch all the Avenger movies, and I've seen all the Iron Man movies. But other than that, like the movies in between those Avenger movies,
it's basically the same. Like the only MCU movies that I had seen prior to doing any of this was Iron Man, the 3 Captain Americas, the second Avengers movie, Infinity War, and Black Panther, and that was it. So like those 7 movies, and he had only seen like maybe 8 or 9. And with how many movies and the few TV shows there now are, there's a lot to catch up on. So I figured this was a good series. And then secondary to MCU review is the Star Wars retrospective.
I grew up a Star Wars fan. I'm a Star Wars geek. I know everything. I know all of the lore, I guess.
Lore would be a fairly okay statement to put it.
But
we know all the original stuff.
Yes.
We know the original stuff. Don't get us on the new stuff because that's a totally different discussion.
I went and saw episodes 7, 8, and 9 in theaters.
Same.
And I've never walked out of a theater so unhappy in my life.
But we'll talk about those more in those specific episodes. I liked watching episode 7 in the theater because I was young. I was still only...
Force Awakens was not horrible. That's
because it's mostly just, it's a very safe movie.
I just don't like how they copied everything.
That's why it's so safe.
I know, but it's... I was like, it's not bad, but it's not good.
I had barely turned 14 when that movie came out, so I was still young and didn't really... Yeah. It was 2015.
Are we that old?
We're that old. We're 20 now. So, yep. But either way, the Star Wars retrospective is going to be something. So we'll first be going through the 9 movies. And then there's all the shows and other supplemental stuff to be able to watch that I haven't seen. Like, I haven't seen The Mandalorian yet, even though I have Disney Plus now.
You haven't seen
watching that sometime. I haven't seen the Clone Wars either.
I've seen every episode. That was my childhood, was the Clone Wars. I remember it was on Cartoon Network every Friday. I'd get on.
It was on Cartoon Network?
Every Friday. New episode once a week.
We didn't have TV when I grew up. We didn't have anything. So
I would get home from school. I would tell my parents, I'd be like, look, the TV's mine for a half hour. And I'm watching.
Yeah, because those episodes are like 23 minutes for most of the early seasons. The later ones are closer to a half hour, but still.
They were 23 minutes, but, add in all the commercials.
True. I forget that commercials were a thing back in the day. I'm so averse to advertisements that I pay the extra money to get no ads because I hate them so much. I think most people do that, but man, I hate ads so much. I pay for YouTube Premium. I hate ads that much. And YouTube Premium is way too expensive. It's like $16.
Are you serious?
Yeah. A month.
I was.
It's so expensive just to be able to get ad free and then the YouTube original content, which isn't that much.
Mind them, but when it becomes like 2 unskippable ads, or if I'm trying to like watch a 20-second video and get a 30-second ad, it's like
Yeah, I hate ads a lot. So yeah, it's a struggle. So, and then aside from the Star Wars retrospective, there's a lot of other sort of movies, like we mentioned Dune, if we can cover that. It's something that maybe we'll wait to cover it until 2023 when the second part comes out. I really liked it as somebody who hasn't read the book but is very interested
We
in
could
reading
do
it.
that, and then I'll make a point to watch it tonight.
Especially since uh, it will probably be back on HBO Max sometime earlier, middle next year, because that's what they've been doing with new releases. It's on HBO Max and in theaters, but then when it comes out of theaters, it's off HBO Max up until it's released digitally or something. That's my best guess at understanding that. But so there's that kind of stuff. We mentioned Joker. I want to watch The Invisible Man 2020 because in late 2019, I got a Facebook memory of this actually. In late 2019, the first trailer for The Invisible Man 2020 came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want to watch this in theaters when it comes out. And I tagged you and was like, hey, you want to watch this when it comes to town? And you were like, yeah, sure. And then it proceeded to not come to town because it came out probably like 2 weeks before everything shut down. It was somewhere in that time.
Yeah.
And then it never came to our theater, as far as I know, because it just never came.
Our theater gets like new movies
like 3 or 4 weeks late. If it's a really big one, it'll get it same weekend. Like Jurassic World, the first one, came out same weekend. And it was held for 2 weekends. Joker, I think, was the same weekend as well, because I watched it the second time
I'm used to
the same
having to
day.
wait, like, I have to avoid, if I don't want to travel out of town to go see a movie in theaters, I'm used to having to wait a week or two, trying to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
To this town.
So yeah, especially as somebody who hasn't seen Endgame, I know most of the major spoilers, even though I don't know the reference for them, so they don't mean anything to me. That's something special about me.
You need
is
to watch
spoilers.
Endgame.
Spoilers don't actually bother me too much unless I know the reference. If it's a series that I haven't seen or like a video game that I haven't played and somebody tells me something, it'll likely go in one ear and out the other. I'll just forget before I even play it because there's no reference in here. So if I know the reference, it ruins it. But if I don't know the reference, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
It's really weird, so I'm very special in that regard. Very special. I say that as if I'm special. No, I'm just very weird in that regard that spoilers in some cases don't bother me. Don't laugh at me. And then aside from assorted movies and stuff, there are some TV shows that we want to watch.
I love TV shows. Other than movies, like TV shows are something I can sit and binge watch. And a couple of the ones that I want us to review are The Walking Dead, which I've seen every episode, except for the new season. I have yet to watch the new season, which is season 11, I think. It's the final season of The Walking Dead. I have not yet watched it, but I've avoided spoilers. Game of Thrones. I've only ever seen up to season like 3 or 4.
So you've seen most of the good stuff, apparently.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about the rest of Game of Thrones up until season 8.
I think some people count season 7 into it, but the reason I actually discovered this recently, as far as I know, I might be wrong, but sorry, allergies again. My understanding is that season 8 at least, but maybe season 7 as well, deviated from the books.
Yeah,
the show writers wrote kind of their own ending because that book series still isn't finished yet.
Is it not? No.
No book has come out for something like 12 years or something like that. And there's still 2 books left. George might not be alive to finish the series. But so, either way, the showrunners deviated from the books, is my understanding. And they thought they had a better understanding of what some of these characters would do. And that's why the ending was so bad. That's my best guess. That's what I've heard. That's my understanding of it. It could be wrong. But
we need to watch Game of Thrones. It's been a few months since I've seen it, so I'm going to have to restart it, and it won't be too big. That'll be my 3rd time restarting it. But so, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones. I'm watching Peaky Blinders.
I have this on the list as well.
Right now.
Like, the trailer looks cool enough for it.
Right.
Like,
I'm enjoying the show. I don't know if you will. I don't want to say it's like slower pace.
It's hard to know what I'm going to enjoy. I enjoyed Dune. Nothing happens in Dune.
Really?
It is 2.5 hours of build-up.
Oh.
Because it's part 1. I'm kidding. There's some stuff happens in Dune, but if you're not somebody who knows the book, like me, I surprisingly liked it. Most people who don't like the book don't understand what the fuck happened in that movie. So,
Yeah.
So I can enjoy good slow burns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For example, the book that I'm reading right now, because Seasonal Productions on this channel and whatnot, I'm doing a lot of book reviews. The book that I'm currently reading at the moment of this recording is Salem's Lot by Stephen King. Wow. Stephen King. Salem's Lot, which is one of the best tried and true examples of a slow burn. Nothing happens in part 1.
Huh.
And then shit hits the fan immediately in part 2. And then shit hits the fan worse at the start of part 3, because I'm starting part 3. And I can enjoy a good slow burn, so we'll see. But some of the shows that I want to get to as well are Game of Thrones and Walking Dead. I listed Gotham here because I remembered that. Where's Gotham?
Gotham, yes. Gotham is a good show. I didn't watch the final season, I don't think. I remember watching it years ago when it first was released.
Everything was years ago at this point. Time runs together, bro.
I know. When you get older, time just flies. And it sucks.
Really does.
I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and have a wife and 3 kids and be like,
"Oh God,
what the hell happened?" But,
that's a mood.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Not enough time in this world.
Yeah, and then I have some others like Chernobyl. I think Chernobyl's on HBO.
It is. So I've seen.
So I noticed that.
I think I watched practically everything except like the last 2 episodes. I
think it's 5 or 6 episodes or something like that. But they're long episodes. They're like an hour and 11 minutes or something.
Oh yeah. The episodes are long. And I remember watching it, and it was pretty good. And
this is actually how we met.
Oh yeah.
Was Chernobyl. So that'd be a fun
we did not
thing
meet
to go
in
into.
Chernobyl.
We met in Chernobyl. No, we haven't been to Chernobyl. We want to go to Chernobyl at some point in time, maybe.
They're doing tours. I think is what the last thing I read, that you can pay to go they give you a tour.
But yeah, in 8th grade when Lane moved into town, back into town, we should say, he lived here when he was little.
I lived here up until 1st grade and then moved to Colorado.
Yeah, I think I lived here until I was like 2 or 3, so I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I was a baby and an infant. But in 8th grade, when Lane moved back into town, in computer class, what was the class called? I don't remember. Keyboarding. It was keyboarding class.
Was
it? It was either keyboarding or the next year of it, whatever it was. I'm pretty sure we all called it keyboarding. Yeah. But we were in this class, and it wasn't the very start of the year. I want to say it was. I want to say it was close
through the year. I just know you got sat next to me.
I think it was. Let me think. Sorry, I have a really good memory when it comes to time most of the time. So I'm trying to reference things. I'm trying to reference. So I was sitting next to Clayton.
Okay.
And I didn't mind sitting next to him. I'm pretty sure the seating arrangement after that was when I got moved to that front very right, and you were right next to me.
We were in the front?
I'm pretty sure that was the first
I thought we were in the back.
We were in the back for the second half of the year, basically. Like, that's where we sat for most of the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the very front. So it was somewhere, it was probably in the middle of winter or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was probably a couple months before, what's this bucket? It was either Easton or Thomas pulled the fire alarm in the gym.
That was,
And we were out in the middle of February. Okay. In the middle of February in this town.
You get like 6-8 feet of snow.
Look, everyone knows that
the weather, like the temperature is always in the negative. It's always in the negative.
It's so bad.
Our warmest day is like 2 degrees.
It's a slight exaggeration, but it's cold. So all of us were out there. Some people had a hoodie. Most people were in short sleeves.
Yeah.
And we were out there for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because somebody prank pulled a fire alarm in the gym.
I think it was Kenny.
Oh no, it was Kenny! We all thought it was Thomas or Easton. That's right. It was fucking Kenny.
It was fucking Kenny.
He pulled the fire alarm in the gym. And oh my god, we were so cold. And then as soon as they finally got one of the buses out so that we could sit into the heated bus, that was when they finally decided to let us back into the school. And we were so pissed. But that was how we met. And we met basically over Chernobyl. He was interested in it, and I was like, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun way to go.
I don't remember why I was researching it, but
we were interested in it for something. It might have been some assignment, and you decided to do it on Chernobyl, and then I decided to do it as well, and that's how we met, basically.
Yeah.
So that's a fun throwback and a way weird tangent in the middle of this episode. So some other shows. I have Stranger Things listed here.
Stranger Things? Oh.
That's a show that I have not seen. I know how it goes because I've seen the dead meat kill counts on them on the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
So I know how those go.
On Stranger Things, I've seen, like, the first episode. I was at a friend's house, and they were like, have you ever seen this show? And I was like, no. And they're like, they're one of those people, like, how have you never seen this? You gotta sit down and watch it. So I watched the first episode with them, and then never watched it again.
It's one that I've had an interest in. Based on the storylines and stuff that I know, it looks cool.
Yeah.
So, and, I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody saying a bad thing about it. Oh, never mind.
I haven't heard too many. I haven't heard really any bad things about it.
I just know that people think that the first season was better than the second because it sparked some sort of magic or something. And there was one episode, so episode 7, if I'm remembering my numbers. I know numbers well. I think it was episode 7 of season 2 that was really bad because they were trying to start like a spin-off thing with 11.
Oh.
I think. I'm pretty sure that's what I remember. And the style of the episode didn't work, so they dropped it. Basically. So, that was something random. I can't remember other shows. I know that there's more. Well, obviously all the MCU and Star Wars shows.
Right, so we want to,
I don't remember. Shows. I have Game of Thrones, Peaky Blinders, Chernobyl, Stranger Things, Gotham, Walking Dead. If it's on HBO Max, Disney Plus, or Netflix, we're going to consider it,
He's not a big fan of anime, but...
That's true.
And I enjoy it, so...
Does the Netflix version of Death Note have English dubs?
Yes.
Okay, because
Death Note is the one anime that he needs to... Not the live action. No, God, no. I watched live action.
All I've heard about it is that it wasn't good.
We're gonna watch the anime. You're
okay, I'll try.
Making you sit through.
I'll do my best.
Death Note. Death Note is the first anime I've watched.
We should probably cover some Studio Ghibli stuff on HBO Max first, because that's basically the closest I've ever gotten to in being able to enjoy anime is Studio Ghibli type stuff. Ghibli or Ghibli? I don't know. Sorry, but so probably something along those lines, and then we can move on and try. And if it's English dubs for anime, I'm more likely to watch it. I'm not a subtitle person. I hate subtitles. Like,
I'm the complete opposite. I watched the entirety of Death Note in Japanese and just read the subtitles.
And I mean, I can get it, but for me, the only situation where I can have subtitles on is games.
Oh, yeah.
And that's mostly because of habit, because most games just have subtitles on already.
Yeah.
So that if a game doesn't, I naturally turn it on because otherwise it feels weird. But everything else, I cannot stand subtitles. Like, if I'm watching a movie that's in English, I'm not going to have subtitles because then I'm just watching those and not watching the movie. I miss the subtle hints and stuff that happen in the visuals. Right. So, plus, this may sound offensive, but I promise you it's not. I don't like listening to languages that I don't understand. Which is why I
canceled. It's our first podcast, Holden, and you got us canceled. Way to go. I'm going to have to go back on the streets as a hooker, bro.
For reference, he is not.
Me and my friends tried. And then it started.
I'm not one of those friends.
We fought over what corners we would get.
When was it?
A few years ago. Yeah.
Never mind, we don't need to get into this. Either way, it's something why I actually don't mind listening to some things in Spanish now because I took Spanish in high school. I can catch little things.
Class.
What Spanish you took?
Well,
so before you dropped out.
Actually, I did Spanish 9th grade year, so I did it like the whole year.
Okay.
But the thing is the class was right after lunch, and after I eat, I'm tired.
My Spanish that year, it was my sophomore year when I took Spanish 1 instead of freshman. I was the one person that did that. But either way, my Spanish I took. Whatever. We don't need to get in that discussion. That teacher is amazing. She's probably the best teacher in this town.
Yeah, she let me sleep in her class, so I have no complaints.
But that's why I don't mind listening to some stuff in Spanish, is because I can catch little things. Now I can listen to some things in Russian and catch some things because I'm teaching myself Russian. And which is why the start of Iron Man 2, because I've watched that already, was kind of cool. Because I recognized the Russian alphabet. and know how to pronounce
yeah,
some of it.
yeah.
So in the very beginning and stuff, there are some like the posters and street signs and stuff that are in Russian, and I can look at them and recognize the letter and kind of sort of make out in my head how maybe it's pronounced. Maybe the longer words I have struggled with. But yeah, so it's one of those things. So I don't enjoy listening to anime in Japanese. A few episodes or a few bits of stuff that I've listened to just kind of grate my ears because I don't understand it. If I don't understand it, I have a really hard time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's an
English
acquired
version
thing.
of some of those animes though.
I know
so
that
god-awful.
I know that there are some anime with English dubs that are so bad.
It's kind of like
There's
Squid,
this
Squid
one
Games. Squid
Oh,
Games.
Squid
You
Game.
could watch Squid
Okay,
Games.
that's
I finished
something.
that show
That's
a couple weeks
something
ago.
though is because Squid Game's on Amazon or not Amazon, Netflix
Yeah.
actually. One movie, Train to Busan, which is Korean.
Mhm.
It has one of the same actors that's in Squid Game.
Oh,
At
really?
least one. The main character in Train to Busan is in Squid Game. He's a good actor.
Hmm.
That movie, I do want to watch. I don't know why, for some reason, these Korean movies and stuff that I've seen, like Dead Meat cover on Kill Count and stuff,
Right.
I have an interest in watching. Hell, even the Wreck movies that are all in Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would be down to watch those. Like, I'm okay to push my boundaries and try some new stuff, but I definitely do have a hard time sometimes when it comes to not being able to understand, because even if I'm reading what it's saying, then it doesn't match. That's why I can read stuff in Russian while someone's speaking it and be like, okay, that's fine, because I can kind of recognize where some of that stuff's coming from now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm a very particular person. Judge me all you want. So, and then one of the other topics that I think I might want to cover on here sometimes is we can cover like random goofy stuff, like random IRL or goofy conspiracy stuff that are just like so outlandish and
Yeah,
funny.
our podcasts are not gonna just revolve directly around shows and movies.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, but occasionally, if
for
we
the
want to talk
beginning,
about
like this
something
next
else, yeah.
year, yeah, it'll focus
For the
on
first
that.
year, for the most part, yeah,
But
for sure.
like we can talk about anything.
We can talk about random shit. Like here we are. We've already referenced random stuff about our lives many times and gone on tangents. That's kind of the fun of podcasts.
Yeah.
So there's tons of stuff. And then I kind of want to talk about some things about gaming with you as well, because
I'm a huge gamer.
yeah, same. I have a couple video game review series.
Yeah.
One of them that hasn't had any episodes come out as of the time of this episode, but it shall in March? Question mark? I think so. But
yeah. I'm
basically.
playing Skyrim for like the 7th time because they released the anniversary edition, and I'm like, sure, why not? And God, I've put way too many hours into that.
Yeah, and one of the main videos on that front that I would be interested in covering is the top 10 games of all time. Like, what of our, like, you know, have an episode where we talk about, like, the first 9, like 10 through 2, and then one that's dedicated to our number ones. Because we both, well, I know what your number one is, but I haven't played it.
Yeah.
We've both played my number one. We both played that game. And God, I love it so much, and I would love to do an episode dedicated to either our number ones or one dedicated to each our own game. Maybe at some point, when I play your number one, maybe we can talk about that. And
You better fucking play it,
because I do need to play it at some point. Either
you
way,
need to.
So let's see. I think that's most of what we needed to talk about in this episode. I just have some clarifying current release schedule stuff. And then a couple end notes, let's see. So the current release schedule. So this one you're watching would be released on January 1st, 2021. It's kind of a random thing because the way that the podcast is going to come out is the first and third Friday of every month. I have this written as second and fourth for some reason. That's wrong. It's the first and third Friday of every month. So this is the January 1st, which is on a Saturday, actually. It's close enough to Friday that I'm okay with it, but there's actually an important reason. So, what is that first? That would be the, good grief, what's the calendar? The 7th. So January 7th, the first Friday, that will be our first movie episode. So that will be Iron Man MCU review episode number 1, where we'll be talking about Iron Man. And that's something that I'm excited to talk about because that's what this guy likes. When it comes to MCU, the movies that he's watched,
Iron Man.
The movies that he's watched is Iron Man. The movies that I've watched are Captain America.
I've probably seen Iron Man 6-7 times in the last couple months.
Jesus Christ. The
I don't know
total
what it
amount
is
of
about that
times,
movie, but I
yeah,
just
the
love
total amount of times that I've watched Captain America / Winter Soldier, those two were probably like 3 or 4 times each several years ago. But I really liked those movies. And man, I was so hyped for Civil War when it came out, and then it was just so big. There were so many characters. And I was like, I haven't watched enough of the MCU to know this stuff. But either way, I still really liked it, but Captain America was my jam, Iron Man was his jam, so I'm kind of interested to see where those kinds of discussions go. So that will be on the 7th. And then 2 weeks after that, on the 21st, the third Friday of January, will be the Star Wars Retrospective episode number 1, which is The Phantom Menace. That's one that you haven't seen super recently, I don't think, yet.
Yeah, not for a few. No, I haven't seen that one in a few years.
I definitely caught a little bit more watching it now that I'm older, but it's one that we've watched enough times growing up because we were both so into Star Wars. We'll be fine. Because I watched it recently enough that I can make comments. It looks really bad in some areas.
I used to have $5,000 worth of Star Wars action figures.
Really?
Yeah.
Did I know? I don't think I knew this.
I don't know.
Look at that.
Know that. It was when I was a kid. I used to, because it was when the Clone Wars was really popular. Like, you know, every day.
I had plenty of Star Wars, but it was probably only like $150 or $200.
Like I had just action. I had Obi-Wan Kenobi one, Anakin, General Grievous' guards. I had Count Dooku.
I had the Episode 3 Anakin. Yeah.
I had Ahsoka. I had basically all.
I had the Clone Wars Padme one for some reason. I don't know why.
You have that one?
I don't know if I still do.
I'm so mad that I don't got those action figures anymore. Like, I had a Darth Maul action figure.
But then again, you would look like your uncle, and man, your fucking uncle. Oh my god, he is so... it's so bad. It's so fucking bad. His entire goddamn house is Star Wars paraphernalia. And I love it and hate it. I hate it because I hate him, and it makes me hate Star Wars paraphernalia.
Well said.
I mean, either way, but I probably wouldn't hate it as much if you had it all, but still. It's because I don't like him that I find it so cringe.
I literally had bookshelves. Like, you know how your bookshelves is filled with
books? I
have
a couple bookshelves now, and they're filled with books.
Imagine your bookshelves. Imagine, like, 5 bookshelves that are...
So, like this wall.
Yes. And they're all filled with figures. Some of them unpackaged and they were worth a lot. And then I had a Lego Star Destroyer.
Star Destroyer, good grief. I haven't watched Star Wars enough. Oh, okay.
Triangle ship.
The triangle ship, yes. From the original trilogy.
The original trilogy.
The ships are where I have issues with Star Wars. I always forget the names. It can be confusing.
If I haven't talked about Star Wars or seen the movies in a while, then yeah, the names become...
Yeah, it gets hard to remember some of those names, surprisingly, for somebody who is so into it as a kid.
I had an action figure of Plo Koon.
I forgot that the fucking Disney Plus versions of those original trilogy are the edited versions.
Yeah.
I mean, I have all 3 of them on VHS, actually. I made my mom keep them because they're the original versions.
Ooh.
So I think if our VHS player still works, we might have to watch those in my house. That'd be fun.
I know we're only 20, but we have VHS players, like...
Dude, nobody watching this video knows what a fucking VHS player is.
Oh my god. Because that's what I grew up with, was VHS players.
Same.
And, like, remember having to put a CD in your computer to burn music, like, burn a CD?
Oh man, early 2000s kids know. I'm not going to say 90s kids know, because neither of us are 90s kids, but still.
I'm close enough.
But it's close enough for me, because even though I was born in 2001, late 2001, right. I was raised like I was born in, like, 97.
Yeah.
Basically from the time that so I'm one of 6 boys in my family, and I'm the 5th one. So basically the time from the fourth kid. So 2 brothers older than me. This is a confusing thing to talk about. But he was born in 96. And then the next one was born in very late 98. I always get him confused for sometimes being born in 99, but he was born in 98. Then I was born in 01. But from that time in the mid-90s, most of the stuff that we had technology-wise was from like that 97 to 04 range of stuff. So the meme that's just like, when I say what and then answer the question, it's not because I didn't hear you, it's because I'd be lagging like a 2005 Dell laptop. And that really strings with me because that's the computer that we had until 2012. Was like a 2004, 2005 desktop. So I was raised more like a 90s kid than I was a 2000s kid. My little brother, who was born in 03, he's a lot more of a Zoomer than I am. I am tempted to call myself more of a millennial than a Zoomer because of the way that I was raised. I do not relate with Generation Z at all. The only thing about Generation Z that I fit in with is my savviness with technology. Because I've been around it my whole life. But otherwise, I was raised like a 90s kid. So, yeah. So we have those VHSs. We may have to watch those instead because episode 4's edited version is not good. The additions in that movie is not good. There are a couple scenes, like when Han runs into the stormtroopers in the Death Star, and then they added all of them. That was a good. Yeah. That was okay. But like the Jabba scene, no bueno. No bueno. I don't mind the edited version of 2006's. Why did I say that of episode 6's? Because most of the only stuff that was changed was Jabba's palace, and it didn't matter that much.
Yeah.
It was more like, why did you waste your time on this? Than it was offensively bad.
Yeah.
And I know that Lucas wanted to have the Jabba scene in episode 4 originally, and they couldn't really do it or afford it. But the CGI is so bad, it makes it unbearable.
Yeah.
It looks so bad. Somehow it looks worse than the CGI in the prequels look. And rewatching episode 1, Jar Jar does not look good. I never remembered him looking
No one
bad.
likes Jar Jar anyways.
I don't hate him, but I don't like him.
He's a Sith Lord, so.
I remember when everyone was like, Jar Jar is Snoke. Man, what a wasted potential. Look, it would have been better than what they did with Snoke, because all they did was kill him like he was nothing.
Yeah. So
Spoiler. They did nothing with him. It would have been funny.
Didn't in like episode 9 they say it was Palpatine controlling him as like a clone or
Maybe.
something? Like,
I don't remember.
The thing is, yeah, see, those movies were so bad that I don't even bother remembering the details.
That's my thing, though, is episode 8 at least, because this is another tangent. We don't need to be talking about that. This will be talked about a lot more in that specific episode, which will probably be in the middle of next year or something by the time. But that, in terms of character arcs, I don't like what they did with any of the characters. But if you're looking at it, oh shit, I didn't plug the laptop in. So here it is, about to die. Let's not let that die while I'm recording.
I thought you were about to say it wasn't recording audio or something. I was about to be like,
oh, I'm gonna check. No, it's still recording audio, but even then that still works. I would just have to do more editing with it. Anyway, episode 8, I don't like what they did with the characters, but when you think about it from an objective stance, the way that they focused on character arcs, it was a really good movie for character arcs. Every other technical aspect of it was not good. And the way that they did those character arcs with the characters was not good. But in some manner, it succeeded in being a good way to develop characters, even if we don't like what they did with them. That's the only credit that episode gets.
They're not canon.
For some reason, episode 8 is one of those movies that me and like 3 other people I know online, watching in the theater, it was our favorite. But then as the years have gone by, it's gotten worse and worse. And it's just so weird because there was like 4 of us who felt this way. That was just like, that movie was so good. Like, there were 4 of us who was like, that movie was so good. And then we rewatched it, it was just like, it's fine. And then we think about it over the years, and it's like, that's not good. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Pissed. I wanted my money back.
Yeah, so this isn't a set schedule, but some of the other episodes that we'll be doing, like February's episodes, might be like The Incredible Hulk for MCU Review 2. We might skip that. I don't know. It depends, because we have to rent it on YouTube or something, and I don't know if I want to spend $4 on The Incredible Hulk, because I've literally never heard anybody ever talk about that movie. Ever. I don't know if I've never once heard anybody talk about that movie.
I just didn't enjoy it. Like, I don't know, it was years ago when I watched it, so I don't remember the full movie or much of what happened. I just remember not enjoying it. And I couldn't tell you why I didn't
even know it existed until I saw the MCU timeline type of stuff, where it was just like, watch it in this order, when that happened, when Endgame was going on.
Yeah.
So, but either way, it might happen, it might not. If it does, then it'll be the next MCU review. If it doesn't happen, Iron Man 2 will be the next one. I want to be able to cover Dune if you manage to watch it. It'll definitely be something that'll probably be more heavy on my side of the discussion because I watched it twice and I caught so much more. If you don't know the book, all that shit is gonna fly over your head.
Probably, yeah.
I understood some things just based off of. I'm part of a Discord server that's way into reading, so a lot of the
server that's way into reading. That's a new one.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
Yeah, that's where I do all my reading discussion stuff. That's part of why I decided to do a bunch of book content here. So, but either way, I know some like minor random things like character names and whatnot that I've gotten a lot. What the fuck was that?
My work just posted the schedule.
Oh no. I don't know when the next Star Wars retrospective will be. It might be in between, or it might be after the next MCU review, or something like that. That's going to be Attack of the Clones.
He said no vaping during the podcast.
What the fuck, bro?
It's gonna happen sometimes. Especially if I'm sitting here for more than a half hour, it's gonna. I'll be.
Hey, you've been doing good. It's been 50 minutes.
True.
Okay, now throw it across.
No. It's sitting right there. I just won't hit it again. I'll put it in my handy pocket and forget about it. Forget about it.
Yeah, and then I want to cover the Invisible Man pretty time soon.
Pretty time soon. Got it.
English is hard, but
English is a bitch.
Like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to watch that in the theater, but then it never came to our theater because shit hit the fan in early 2020, and we all know that. It was one of the few movies that actually came out in theaters in 2020.
I can't believe we're almost entering 2022.
It's crazy. I know. I keep on thinking it's about to be 21. It feels like 2020
hasn't ended yet.
I know. I mean, I've been able to think of it as 2021 really easily.
I lived in this apartment for a year.
It's been closer to 2 years at this point. Like a year and a half, probably.
I feel like my landlords haven't hit me up once. Damn. I got some good landlords. I don't gotta talk to them or nothing.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, that's right. I put this note in here. Keep in mind, for every episode, at the very end of the episode, I'll have like a voice clip or something. I'll do some sort of post-edit recording that I'll do just on the microphone or whatever that will clarify for sure what the next episode's going to be. Because we're recording all these ahead of time. For example, these episodes are a month before they're going to come out.
Yeah.
So, and because it's ahead of time, if we record certain episodes, it'll depend on what I get edited and what I feel should go in front of the others. So at the end of every episode, I'll have a voice clip that says, okay, this is what we're going to cover in the next episode. This is the movie, or this is the show, or something like that. And since we're going to be so ahead of things, and we only technically have to record like 2 of these a month.
Yeah.
We can keep ahead of stuff, and it gives me time to be able to watch TV shows, because that was what I was worried about, was because TV shows with long episodes, and like Game of Thrones was going to be one that was going to be a little bit harder.
Right.
Because all those episodes are like 50 minutes, and then in the last season, they're like an hour and 20 minutes. Christ. But so I'll be able to have time to watch some of that stuff, thank God. But either way, that's how that's gonna be. I don't have any plans for TV show releases yet for that same reason. Well, it'll take a little bit of time. Those will be a little bit more spread out and stuff because we have to watch whole seasons. Plus, if we do cover any TV shows early on, it will be other stuff like Game of Thrones or Chernobyl or Walking Dead or something like that. Yeah, because I do want to watch Walking Dead with you because you know so much about it. It would be a fun series for him to do most of the talking. Yeah, you've done a lot of talking actually, and I'm really happy about that.
True. I suck at talking. I suck at conversations usually.
Yeah, I haven't been too bad this time, so that's
pretty good, especially for our first podcast.
For sure, for the first episode. So it'll all come down to the editing.
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever.
Good luck.
It shouldn't be too hard. It'll mostly just be figuring out the noise gate.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. Because this computer, when we were doing test recordings like a month and a half ago, made it so that this microphone wouldn't pick up anything except for voices. I was jangling my keys next to the mic while speaking. It only picked up my voice. Then when I was doing test recordings last weekend before recording some of my first videos and whatnot, that wasn't the case. I don't know what was doing it. And because I don't know why that was, I don't know how to make it do that again, so I'm going to have to do vocal editing. Oh well. Yeah. Whatever. That'll be fine. But yeah, Walking Dead's on Netflix, isn't it?
Yes.
Fuck.
So first,
I have to actually buy that. I spent so much goddamn money the past couple.
I
spent a couple $1,000s on books. Don't judge me.
I spent $850 on a goddamn PlayStation 5.
I spent $550 on it because I got it for list price. But that wasn't easy. You want to know how many months I was doing that? It was probably like 7 months.
I found the cheapest scalper I could find, and it was $850. And you know what? He got it to me within a few days, so I'm not complaining too much.
Now, I think that's basically everything. My main thing is just some Ed notes. That's not what it is. End notes. Just once again to say, check out seasonalproductions.com because that has all of my writing and whatnot. I have a couple blogs, but it's mostly my fiction writing, or poems, or short stories, novellas, and then of course my fantasy epic series that I'm really excited about. All of that is going to be on there. And in addition to that, all of the stuff that publishes on the King Crusoe YouTube channel here, including the podcast, including all of my other video content, all of that will also be on Seasonal Productions. So the easiest way to get this podcast and everything else guaranteed is to go to seasonalproductions.com and bookmark it. So you can go there. Let's see. Yeah, it, like I said, it also has the archive for all of my other YouTube stuff. So be sure to subscribe to this channel. I don't know when or if I'll ever get this podcast up onto other podcast platforms because that would require me to have to do the RSS stuff and figure out how the fuck that stuff works. I don't know how that works at all. So I need to figure that out at some point and see if I can ever get this stuff on like Spotify and iTunes and whatnot, because I would ask you to rate and review us, but I don't know how to do that. So like the video and subscribe to the channel and leave comments if you like. So that should be it, I think. So thank you all for sticking around. This episode actually made it to 56 minutes in the recording. So maybe upwards of 50 minutes after the edit.
Yeah, we spent
45
minutes.
minutes.
In the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's true. The first 5 minutes for us staring at the door because his fucking cats were
staring at the door,
us.
and it took me like 3 tries to even get the intro down. So
you know what? It worked well.
Yeah, it did.
I messed up my part of the intro, but you know what? Keeping it in because that's how podcasts work. Not too heavy editing. So that should be the episode.
At talking as we make more podcasts.
Yeah, especially.
I feel like we're.
I keep on stooping over like this. I need better posture, but you've been fine, I think. I wonder if the suit jacket is part of what's making your posture better.
I could like do whatever in the suit, just makes it look like I'm sitting upright. When really, I'm
Meanwhile, I'm like this half the time, and then I come up like this a lot, and then I'm not even really in the frame right. Like, I might just do this. Oh, that might be a better angle for the next episodes, is to angle the chair a little bit this way.
I'm fat, I'm not doing that.
Well, I can probably do it to fit in the frame better or something like that. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Either way, this is the end of the episode. Tune in 6 days. Math is hard. On January 7th for Iron Man, which is the first MCU review. So, yeah, there's that.
Go watch it.